Hi, welcome to Leap Taken. This is Mika, and here at Leap Taken, I talk about all things witchy, craft related, law of attraction, manifesting, esoteric, and everything else in between. So, today I want to talk about color magic. So, over at leaptaken.wordpress.com, which is the blog to Leap Taken, I wrote about color magic, but I didn't call it that because my blog is more sort of general, friendly. I don't really go into much about witchcraft. I don't really actually go into witchcraft at all. Mostly law of attraction, some esoteric. I do have Tarot Thursday series that I've been doing, so that's about it. But I think there's psychology behind colors and all that, and why we choose certain colors, why we're attracted to it, and what it says about our mood and about our life, and choices and things like that, based on where we are at any given point in our life, and the colors that we choose to either wear or surround ourselves with, or that we identify with as representing us. Okay, so before I get started, please like this video. If you like topics like this, I'd really appreciate it. It's really helping my little growing channel here. And and dare I ask, if you'd like to subscribe, that'd be really great. And again, if you have, I really appreciate it too. So, all right, so how do I interpret color magic in my craft? Honestly, I let my intuition guide me. I let my spirit guide me. My higher self, I let that guide me. That's how I learn, that's how I learn. But just let it guide me. Sometimes, a white candle might mean purification. It might mean, innocence. It might mean that. And other times it just might be a stand-in because I don't have the other color candle I want. So, I make it make sense when I need it to. And so far, it's all been good. It's all been good. So the way I see color, as far as using certain colors, and usually like candles, spells, or even the outfits that I wear, or a piece of paper, or a pen. Usually I wouldn't even say a piece of paper, pens, because I have colored pens, because I'm a crazy crafter lady, and I like to have multiple versions of colored pens. So if I'm writing down my intentions, or like when I'm doing magical scripting or writing out a petition, I like to have a specific color. Or if I'm writing in my grimoire about money spells, I want to use a green pen or green pencil. And if I'm talking about intuition and psychic ability and tarot readings, I might want to use purple or blue. So anyway, just a little bit how I think. So again, for me, when I see a white candle, perhaps, it's all purpose to me. It's all purpose. It's whatever I need it to be when I need it. It's the substitute candle, the stand-in. What matters to me is I write my intentions on it. The only thing I would not use a white candle for, if I was doing any type of banishing work, I just don't see how it was. If I didn't have a black candle, oh boy, I would have to really challenge myself and earn my witchy title as a witch, and think of a spell to still have the same result, but maybe it's not a banishment. Maybe instead it's asking for the thing I want instead of the thing I don't want, Anyway, but all purpose. And I just said candle, but typically I'm only thinking of the color white is usually candle. Anything else, salt is white, but salt is protective, so yeah, I guess I could look at that. I never wear all white to perform any sort of ceremonial magic, any sort of ritual or spells. I've never felt in my spirit to do so. So, but if I did, I would probably, if I was doing like an initiation or reinitiation into witchcraft. That's a good idea. I might think about that. But yeah, I could see me looking at it that way. I might want to wear all white at that point, as a white gown or some sort of because I would think purification, protective, and that sort of stuff. So yeah, there we go. So red. So for me, the color red in my, remember, I'm breaking down the way I do it, not the way you should do it or the way you're going to do it. I'm hopefully giving you some ideas if you're not sure. Candles, again, I'm picking out red candles for the obvious. Confidence, passion, sex, desire. Now, I wouldn't say desire because I usually think pink for that, but, or unless it's like I use the term burning desire because over again at leaptaken.wordpress.com, I speak about your burning desire when manifesting. So, but other than that, again, if I'm using a red pen for magical scripting, it might be, again, one of those burning desire things. If I'm even banishing, I might do that. Sometimes when I'm doing specific zodiac influence, like my sun sign is Aries, and I want to pull on that Aries energy that's innate in me, I will want to use a red candle, a red pen, a red cloth. I might even go as far as to, because I like to be crafty, so if I create like a little small vision board, something that fits on a piece of paper, I would create a lot of things with red imagery. For this purpose of, let's say, again, Aries focus, I've used that Aries energy for confidence, for, kickstarting a project. So again, I'm a spell on spell kind of person. So first I want to gather that Aries energy. I want to harness it. So I would create a vision board. So every time I look at that, I get that feeling of confidence. I can do this. And that would be part one of my spell. And then the other part is to maybe bless the new project that I'm doing. I would use a whole other color for that. But to, tap into my Aries energy, I use it all. I gotta get, either I've gotta buy some or I gotta figure out how I'm gonna make it. But I had an Aries oil and it was red that I bought. I purchased from a Botanica when I still lived in South Florida. And I used to use that a lot to anoint a lot of things like candles or sometimes on the paper itself. Use that Aries energy. Again, for confidence, to put passion behind the new endeavor or whatever I was doing. It's been super helpful to me because, we tend to be, especially new projects, we go all in. We're the people you call when you want to start something new. Call in Aries because we're ready. Well, we might take over, but that's okay. We're ready to go in. Now, finishing it might be a problem, but we're ready to go in. So that's how I think when I think of the color red. Excuse me. Another thing is the color black. I mentioned banishing, or any type of I think of it probably in the most direct way, hexing, revenge, workings, anything like that. That's how I think of it. Death. If I want to banish something about myself, sometimes there's parts of your personality, that you don't really like. Especially if, I'm talking, let's be real, some of us, we're quick to temper, or, maybe we're too sensitive, and you kind of want to banish that. It's not that you want to not ever get angry again, because sometimes anger is good, sometimes being too weepy, or not too weepy, sometimes being weepy and crying is an act of self-care. So it's not about banishing the emotion, but banishing your inability to sort of balance that. You want to banish your inability and then welcome in. Again, I'm a spell on spell person, so I would do like, I would think of like getting a black little bag, drawstring bag, small bag, and I will put symbols, items, things that, or even a little letter that represent the thing I'm trying to banish, and then I would make it a ritual of sorts. The working, even closing the bag would mean something. There were certain words I would say as I tightened it, sort of like cutting it off. It's done, no more. That's not attracted. That's not attached to me anymore. And you put it in either your witch's box. You can bury it or whatever you're gonna do with it. Burn it, however you want. Get rid of it. But like a black bag, of course. Then you can use black candles for the purposes of like death spells, and not well, yeah, you can actually, do death spells that want somebody to die, but I meant death to something, not necessarily somebody. Or there has been a death, or someone's at, the end of their lives, and death is inevitable. So it could be a way to, I would, get like black candles for the sacred piece of it. They're ending, leaving the earthly plane, and they're going on. And I'd probably do black and white in that situation, sort of white to sort of protect them, cleanse their spirit so they can move on to the next plane, ancestral plane, what have you. And the black candles represent the end, the finality of their existence on this plane. That's how I think of it. The other thing is, and for ceremonial purpose, like a death ceremony. But there's other things that you want. Halloween. So on Halloween, you might want to have black candles. Again, with the death theme, representing spirits, they've moved on, but they've come back because the veil is thin. So you can have maybe some black candles set up to let them know that they're welcome there. That's how I see it anyway. I know some people might feel differently about that color, but I don't know. Black is not always necessarily bad and negative. The color black, I don't see it that way. So yeah, so it could be for sacred purposes as well, or even celebrations like Halloween. And then blue, when I think of blue, I think of peace, I think of intuition, psychic abilities. So I have done blue candles with the intention, of course, I added certain oils to it. I like using either the peppermint oils or rosemary oil when I ever want to do any kind of candle spell to increase my psychic abilities. Usually I'll light a blue candle and anoint it with one of those oils when I want to do some sort of divination. And it's a doozy, it's not a one card situation. Like, I want to go in. I'm about to do a 13 card, 20 card spread, trying to seek information about a multitude of things, either for myself, a situation I'm going through, someone I love, care about, or just the bigger picture of understanding what's happening or what's going to happen, or understanding what did happen, or maybe all of those at the same time. So I want to increase my psychic ability. I want to really connect with my intuition. So I'll light that blue candle, anoint it, and I think the mint oils, peppermint oils, are great for that, because it's sort of physically, it kind of, when you smell that, it opens up your sense of smell. Everything kind of opens up. So I feel like it's doing that with your third eye, so to speak. It's psychically opening you up as well. And I think rosemary does that too. Rosemary essential oil is actually a really strong scent, so it opens you up, also protects. So sometimes I'll do a peppermint and rosemary, because I'm thinking I want to be open, but I'd like to protect myself as well. I don't want anything to attach to me that I don't want. So that's where the rosemary comes in. And yellow, yellow. I love yellow. So when I think of yellow, I think spring, new beginnings. I think new discoveries, new opportunities, new projects. I think about seasonal things, seasonal holidays and things like that. And how will I use it in ritual? Like, when it's spring season, I think of yellow flowers. I think of decorating the altar with bits of yellow here and there. The home itself, I might think to add. I don't think you can see on this. Why am I looking down like you can see underneath? There is. I started adding a little bit of yellow around my home. My wreath I have has a little bit of yellow in it. So that just is a certain freshness it signifies to me. So in my workings, I want to see yellow flowers on the altar space, because to me it's beauty. It's beautiful. It's youth. It's like I said, fresh. So if I'm doing any kind of self-care spells, if I'm doing anything like that, just the representation of the flower, even if it's a silk flower, it doesn't have to be a real flower, um, that sort of puts me in a mental space, which is a positive place. When I want to do something new, something personal new, a new project or something like that, again, I attach it to seasonal. So when I think yellow, I don't think yellow in the middle of winter. So I wouldn't use probably too much yellow on my spell in December. That's just how I think. I would use it now in May. I would find ways to introduce, a piece of cloth or something, or a little bag that was in yellow if I wanted to put things in there to represent, this new endeavor that I'm doing, or, you know, uh, if I was crafting, like doing a scrapbook page or something like that, I would add a lot of yellow in it, and it would represent to me, again, youthfulness, freshness, just new. It just makes me think of new. So that's how I would use it in those ways, the color yellow, that is, in my magic. And then finally, purple. When I use purple in most of my spell work, I usually am thinking of like communing with spirits and ancestors. I think purple, I think royalty, and I think my ancestors have, are on that royal level. So sometimes I'll light a purple candle when it's in reference, as paying reverence to them. So you dress the candle the whole time I'm thinking, this is my offering. I'll do that quite often with a purple candle. It's an offering, to burn these candles, these purple candles, anointed with, beautifully, beautiful essential oils that smell great and that resonate with me. Again, just connecting on the ancestral plane, or just again showing reverence. It doesn't mean I want something. It doesn't mean I'm about to ask a question. Sometimes you just want to show reverence and an offering. So purple is great for that, like a purple candle. Outside of the purple candle, the other thing I would think about using, because again, I told you I'm crazy with pens and pencils. Just remember that when I'm talking about colors. So I have a lot of pens in different colors. So when I'm writing down my book of shadows, or now my grimoire, or even in my witchy planner, if I want to write down like a tarot reading or something like that, I might highlight the card itself. Like if I pulled, Ten of Swords or something like that, I would write in purple and write the meaning in a different ink. I do things like that. It's just, it has a special meaning to me. Again, it just, especially if that, let me back up, if that reading I felt was part of communication, a message from my ancestors. I typically don't do that unless, I don't know, I think I've just equated it to working with my ancestors, that color. So I don't know what that is, but that's how I use it. So, that's my color magic. That's sort of my key to color magic. Most of the magic that I do, I realize, is candle magic, by and large. Even if I'm going to create something else, magically speaking, I light a candle first. I anoint the candle and I light it. So it's the overall witchy aesthetic that I like, and I feel like the fire element is, it works for me. It works for me as a witch. Find your element, by the way. That kind of matters. And again, it goes back to me, my birth chart and things like that, what's in my chart and why certain elements are attractive to me, why they work in my spells. All of that matters. And at least that's how I see it, and therefore, because I deem it so, it is. So there you go. But yeah, I like to make use of color magic as often as possible. Again, it's the way you approach your magical workings. You want to think of those layers and think of all those little details, like the color. And even sometimes when you're doing certain magic that day, maybe you want to, what you're wearing, that color might matter. What you paint on your nails or not, maybe the absence of color. is important, because you don't want to project some other energy into the spell that you're doing. Maybe if you're working for somebody else, if you're doing a magical working for somebody else, you don't want to infuse the energy that you believe comes with that specific color. So you want to have less color and just, only focus on the energy for that person or whatever the intention is for the spell work that you're doing. So yeah, that's what I have to say about color magic. I keep it real simple. I'm all about practicality. It goes by what I get from that color, what emotion it elicits when I view that color, when I think of it, not so much about what the witchy books tell me. So thanks for watching. Please, again, if you've enjoyed the video, go ahead and like. And if you have not subscribed to my channel, please do. It really is helping me a lot, and I appreciate it. And share if you have any other witchy topics that you'd like me to talk about. I'd be happy to, or more esoteric stuff. I wouldn't mind going into that, and law of attraction, because I love talking about that. Although you'll probably find a lot of what you're looking for in that arena over on my blog, because I write about that a lot there. So yeah. So thanks for watching. And again, I'm Mika. This is Leap Taken. Bye.